Hello guys, welcome to this tutorial. This is the third tutorial in a series of tutorials on data analysis using SPSS. In the previous video, we talked about data entry and how you can enter data in SPSS. So in this video, we are going to look at the different types of files that are used in SPSS. So let's dive in. So when you want to open data in SPSS, there are two options. So the first one is to use file, then you go to open, then you go to data. So, and this one will open like that. Also, you can use this open data document icon here. When you click it, again it will give you the same result. So irrespective of the method that you use, so you're going to look at the types of data or file types. So these are basically the types of data that you can open with SPSS. So I'm going to talk about the most used types of data, and again in the future we might create another video on some of the miscellaneous types that I will not talk about here. But in this video we are going to be very focused on those data types that we are going to use, or the file types that we can be able to use in this tutorial. So I will start with the first one, which is the SPSS statistics, which is the .sav. So this one is basically for SPSS. So each SPSS data format has the .sav extension. So that one is used in SPSS. Then I'm going to look at Excel. So for Excel, this is the file type of Excel. So you can open data that is in Excel once you click on this, and that is available. So that type is the comma separated value, and this one is it basically uses comma to separate the data values. So we are going to look at text, and now for text, now it is more general because it talks about delimiters. So for the difference between text and the .csv only is that with the text we have the data in terms of the text, or it can be separated by a tab or a space. So if you have data that is delimited, then you can be able to use this option. So the other one that we are going to look at is Stata. So the extension is .dta. So with this option, it means that you can transfer your data from Stata and you can be able to read it directly in SPSS. And this is important because, you know, so the last one is SAS. So SAS is a software that is used to analyze data, and for this one you can be able also to transfer the SAS files. You can bring into SPSS if you want to do further analysis here. And those are some of the types. So I will use three types of demonstration here. So I will use the CSV option here. So once I go to CSV here, as you can see, it is blank. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to click the drop down menu here, or this arrow, then I'm going to go to CSV. So you can see now it will bring the data there. Also, when I click on text there, again it will continue to bring in the data, because this data also, it has the .csv option. But now as I move on, I will select comma, but for this option I will go with the .csv only. Then I'm going to click on the specific data. Remember, you can have lots and lots of data in this window. So for demonstration purposes, I'm using this. So I will open there. Then it will start to generate the preview. Then I will go the 6 steps here, 1 of 6. So the first one, does your text file match a predefined format? So we don't have that, so we go to next. Then here, how are your variables arranged? So here we go with the delimited. And second one is, are variables names included at the top? Of course we say yes, and that is the first line, as you can see here. So this is the demonstration that this is the first one, and you can see how they are separated using a comma, right? Yeah, so school is one variable, household size is another variable. So the other question is, what is the decimal symbol? So for the decimal symbol, we will use a period. It looks like a full stop, like that, and you can also check here. So this is 51.00. So the point here is what we call the period. If we had separated the decimal with a comma, then we would have opted for comma, and this is a comma here, but the comma here is used to basically separate the values or the data values. So we go to next, step number 3. The first case of data begins on which line number? So it's number 2, as you can see, because number 1 here is just the variable names, then number 2 we have the actual data. Then the second one, how many cases do you want to import? So this is important. You can import okay, you can choose the first, and you select, maybe if you want to import the first 10 cases, then you can import that. You can go to next. If you want to import, say, a given percentage of your cases, then you can say 10%, 20%. Just this depends on what you want to do, but in our case we are going to, and in most cases we are going to import all of the cases, and then after that, then we go to next. This is important again, which is step 4, which delimiters appears between variables. So between one and the other variables, we separate them with comma. So you uncheck space, and you can see the impact that is coming in here. So this one here, when we uncheck, so it shows that there is a space. So once you check the space, you see gender remains blank, and household head, there is always that, because the reason why that happens is there is a blank here. So you would want to uncheck that and make sure a comma is checked. If the values were separated with tab, then you check on the tab. So we continue. So with the specification for variables selected in the data preview, so the first one here, identifier, household identifier, we are going to choose it as automatic. So this gives SPSS an opportunity to treat these variables as it sees them best, but we can always go back and edit them. So again, we go to next. Then step 6 of 6. You have successfully defined the format of your text. That's really nice. Would you like to paste? So in this case, we don't want to paste the syntax, we just want to finish. So we finish. So we can see our data here. So it is already imported. So what you realize that we have a blank variable here, which is the household identifier, and this one I left it intentionally so that I can be able to demonstrate a few things. So this is it. So what you note here is that for gender, this is coded data, so there is 0, 1. So I have opened another SPSS session to help us import. So the second option that I want to import my data in form of Excel, the Excel. So in Excel, what I do is I want to change the files of type here. Okay, doesn't read right. So I want to look at Excel. So this is Excel here. Once I do Excel, it comes. So I will just choose any, because both of them are Excel. So what you realize here, even though these two options are Excel, the one that I have highlighted here has an extension that reads .xlsx, where this other one doesn't have that x. So that means that for this one that is highlighted, this extension is for later versions of Excel. But for the one that doesn't have the X, it means that the format is Excel 1997 to 2003, and this one is of course more compatible with softwares. If you're working on Excel 2016, then when you save your data in 1997 to 2003, people with those earlier versions of Excel can be able to work with your data. So I will open that. Should be giving me something. Right. So this window comes up. So what you have to do, you have to select the worksheet, and in this case we have only one worksheet, so this will be the default. Then you have to check that the first row of the data, that is the one that has the name of the variables. Then 95%, so in this case we choose that, and it is by default that 95% of the values in that column or that variable then will determine the type of data. Then we will ignore hidden rows and columns. So, and that is okay. So what we do after that, okay, and then it will pop. So this is the data that is in Excel. Again, another is the same data actually as we imported in the .csv. So the household identifier is left blank, and you can see that the way the gender is, and in the next video we are going to do the coding. So you can see household and all that. So these ones are basically coded, but of course these are just values, the labels are not applied. So you can see that's the data. So I have opened another session of SPSS, and this one will help us import data that is .asv or the SPSS version of the data. So I will go back here one step like that, then I will go to SPSS, and here you see there is sample data serve and there is sample data final. So I will click on the final and then I will open. So this one opens automatically, and what you realize with this data that when I click this, then it is already the labels are applied. So compared to the one that I imported using the .csv, when I click this, nothing happens. All right, so I have opened another session of SPSS, and in this session I will import data in SPSS using the .dta. This is the Stata version, so I will open there. So I will click this folder up, one level up. Alternatively, I can just click here and locate where my file is. So that is also an important function. So that will be Stata. So on the files of type, I'm going to select Stata, and then I will click on Stata, the data, then open. So as you can see here, this is data from Stata. So because this data was already coded in Stata, so once I click on this one here, value labels, you can see it is changing and it is bringing them. So those are the four different file types that you can use or import in SPSS. In summary, we have looked at how you can import data in SPSS, and also we have the different types of data files that you can import. So we have looked at how you can import the .asav, which is the SPSS statistics data file type. We have looked at Excel, how you can import data with Excel. It can be .xls. We have also looked at Stata, and also we have looked at using the CSV, the comma separated values. So in the next video, we are going to look at data transformation and the record functions in SPSS. This will be important if you want to record any data. Remember, you can find the sample data that I have used in this demonstration in the description below. Thank you for watching this video. See you in the next video.